A lot of auto jobs coming. Watch what's happening. The companies are coming in by the tens. You got to see what's happening.
This is a big week for corporations to report their earnings. Today, General Motors said tariffs are hurting its bottom line.
One thing's for sure, cars are about to get more expensive in the U.S. Some may even be pulled from the market entirely.
If we see prices going up as a result of costs going up either on vehicles or parts, that means that the consumer is going to have a harder time affording these vehicles.
American automotive giant Cadillac stands at a crossroads that would have been unthinkable just years ago. The luxury brand that once epitomized American prestige and engineering excellence now contemplates abandoning its homeland, driven by economic pressures that threaten to reshape the entire domestic auto industry. The crisis stems from aggressive trade policies implemented in April 2025, when a 25% tariff took effect on imported vehicles and components. This policy shift has transformed Cadillac from a national symbol into what industry analysts describe as a survival liability. The company faces mounting costs that analysts estimate could add between $4,000 and $10,000 to each vehicle's production expenses. General Motors has already reported that these tariffs are significantly impacting profitability. The financial strain becomes evident when examining Cadillac's supply chain dependencies. Models like the CT4 and CT5 rely on nearly half their components from Mexico, while the Escalade EV depends on 30% of its parts from South Korea. Every imported component now carries additional tax burdens that erode competitiveness. The luxury SUV market exemplifies these challenges. The Escalade, once considered an untouchable American success story, now carries a sticker price of $93,950, representing a $4,000 increase from the previous year. This price inflation has pushed many potential buyers out of the market, transforming what was once an aspirational purchase into an unreachable luxury for numerous families. Manufacturing operations face equally severe disruptions. General Motors announced plans to relocate Escalade production from its Arlington, Texas facility back to Michigan as part of a $4 billion investment strategy. While presented as consolidation for efficiency, this move reveals deeper strategic compromises. The company is retreating from electric vehicle ambitions and doubling down on gasoline-powered models that face fewer tariff complications. The electric vehicle segment has suffered particularly devastating setbacks. By December 2025, General Motors halted production of the Lyriq and Vistique models at its Tennessee plant, less than 1 year into what was positioned as Cadillac's bold electric future. During the first 5 months of 2026, an entire production shift was eliminated, drastically reducing manufacturing capacity and signaling the collapse of electrification plans. Policy changes accelerated this decline. The elimination of the $7,500 federal tax credit for electric vehicle purchases removed crucial consumer incentives. Combined with inadequate charging infrastructure, these factors created market conditions where electric vehicles struggled to find buyers, leaving inventory accumulating in showrooms across the country. The human cost extends far beyond corporate boardrooms. The Arlington plant employs more than 5,000 workers whose livelihoods now hang in the balance. Local officials describe the situation as a job-killing policy that threatens not just manufacturing workers, but entire communities that depend on steady, automotive wages. The ripple effects reach suppliers, transportation companies, and local businesses that form the economic ecosystem around major manufacturing facilities. General Motors leadership acknowledges the severity of the situation. Company financial officers have warned that continued tariff pressure may force additional operational relocations, making moves like the Arlington closure necessities rather than strategic choices. This admission underscores how trade policies intended to protect American manufacturing are instead dismantling domestic industrial capacity. The North American automotive supply chain, built over decades of integrated cooperation between the United States, Canada, and Mexico, has become a vulnerability rather than a strength. What once provided competitive advantages through efficient cross-border manufacturing now creates bureaucratic complications and tax burdens that inflate costs while providing minimal benefit to American workers. Industry experts describe the process of tracking and taxing individual components as administratively nightmarish. Each bolt, chip, and assembly imported from partner nations now requires documentation and additional payments that drain resources without creating corresponding value. This system punishes the very integration that historically gave North American automakers their global competitive edge. Cadillac's response strategy reveals troubling long-term implications. Rather than investing in innovation and future technologies, the company is retreating into familiar territory. The $4 billion investment in gasoline-powered vehicles represents a defensive move that prioritizes short-term stability over long-term competitiveness in a rapidly evolving global market. While American automakers pull back from electrification, international competitors continue advancing. European and Asian manufacturers are accelerating their transition to electric vehicles and implementing carbon-neutral policies that position them advantageously for future market demands. Cadillac's inward turn risks, leaving the brand increasingly isolated from global automotive trends. The broader implications extend beyond any single company. Cadillac's struggles represent a cautionary tale about how protectionist policies can backfire, creating the opposite of their intended effects. Instead of strengthening American manufacturing, these measures are driving iconic brands to consider offshore production as their only path to survival. Communities across multiple states are witnessing the fragmentation of industrial confidence. From Texas manufacturing centers to California assembly facilities, the tremors of policy-driven instability are creating uncertainty about America's automotive future. International partners stand ready to capitalize on these self-inflicted disruptions, offering stable alternatives to chaos created by domestic trade policies. The ultimate question facing policymakers is whether they will recognize the destructive consequences of current approaches before additional damage occurs. Cadillac's potential departure would signal that even century-old American brands with global recognition cannot survive under current trade conditions. This crisis transcends automotive manufacturing. It represents a fundamental test of whether American industrial policy can adapt to global economic realities or will continue down a path that drives domestic companies toward international alternatives. The answer will determine not just Cadillac's fate, but the future viability of American manufacturing across multiple sectors.